The caterhamracer.com Season 10 270R Championship is sponsored by DPR Motorsport, your competitive advantage, and by 1-to-1 on-track coaching and simulator training with Ryan Hooker. We're supported by FP0 Simulators.
The new UK motorsport season is upon us. Spring starts to break in the UK, and that means it is time for the 10th season of the caterhamracer.com online racing championship. Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Oulton Park in Cheshire for the first of 7 rounds of this year's Caterham Racer Championship using the new 270R cars. Qualifying is underway. A total of 17 drivers will take part in 2 15-minute races this evening to kick off the season, and it is an all-star cast out there in these new cars for the new season. Good weather here at Oulton Park in Cheshire, this beautiful circuit with its very own lakeside views. It is certainly one of the most attractive venues in British motorsport, and these Caterhams already well and truly up to speed for the new season. My name's Dave Goddard. I'll be taking you through the action this evening, and alongside me in the commentary box is Caterham expert Chris Hutchinson. Chris, good evening.
Good evening, Dave. Great to have you along for this caterhamracer.com experience. Fantastic to start a new season as ever, and I know all the drivers out here tonight really looking forward to getting this underway. We've had sort of plenty of pre-practice sessions. We had fraught pre-qualifying session yesterday with times absolutely dead close, but you can see them all out here now in qualifying. This is the time that actually now matters.
Yes, indeed. It's certainly been first day back at school today for the drivers. There's been plenty of good-natured banter in the paddock between them. We've got an international field as well, with a couple of continental drivers taking part, some very rapid and experienced drivers, a couple of newcomers in the field as well making their racing debuts, and a new car as well with the Caterham 270R being used. Tell us a bit more about the car, Chris.
Yep, so this is brand new for this season. If you've been following along for the last 10 seasons, we've been hammering our Caterham Academy car and our 420R model. Well, we've added a 270R now. This is the third step of the Caterham Motorsport ladder, and it's a fantastic addition to our stable. We've been working on this for, probably about a year now to bring this to fruition. You can see it's fantastic. We can tell it apart from the Academy model because we've lost all the windscreens and the front lights, but the underlying model, this physics, we've updated it, and all our drivers agree that this is the most realistic Caterham we have yet, and we look forward to updating the other cars in our model. But in honour of the newness of it, and it's such a good model, we are doing the whole championship this year in this model.
7 rounds of the championship in total, kicking off this weekend at Oulton Park. We then move on to Croft in North Yorkshire for the second round. We go international for round 3 at the Zandvoort circuit in the Netherlands, home of the Dutch Grand Prix, of course. Then it's the big one at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. Down to Hampshire for round 5 in July for the fast sweeps of the Thruxton Airfield circuit. Then it's over to Norfolk for the Snetterton circuit, and we finish the season in the Midlands in August at Donington. A 7-round calendar in total. Then every driver will get 2 15-minute races and a 15-minute qualifying session. Qualifying underway at the moment. We're about 1/3 of the way through the session, and it is the reigning champion Christian Saruta who is currently quickest. He's done a 1:54.299. Loving the livery on the number 2 car there, almost reminiscent of the Brawn GP team from back in 2009, the team Jenson Button won his title with, of course. He's only a few thousandths of a second clear of number 44, Chris Skillicorn. And Ryan Hooker, the very experienced racer and full-time racing instructor and driver coach, the man behind 121, one of our series sponsors this season. There he is in the white and green car, not carrying a number tonight, but a very distinctive livery on his car. He's only a 1/4 of a second of provisional pole at the moment as he comes up to the final corner at Lodge. Little flash of flame from the exhaust there. We'll take you on a lap of Oulton Park using the full island circuit here for this opening weekend of the caterhamracer.com series. We ride with Ryan Hooker over the start-finish line down to Old Hall Corner first of all. Quite a long right-hander. Ryan just getting a little bit of a slide on through there. Very easy to run wide over the curb, just taking a little bit of curb there. Then it's down the avenue into the slight right flick there of Denton's, then onto the brakes for the left at Cascades with its unforgiving gravel trap on the outside. Very easy to run wide there as well. Then it's along the lakeside. One or 2 cars have come close to ending up in the lake in years gone by. I remember a couple of touring cars going off there back in the early 2000s. Swing it through the left at Island Bend, and then it's onto the brakes, one of the slowest parts of the circuit, into the banked Shell Oils hairpin. Back on the throttle as they come out and up towards the first of the 2 back straight chicanes at Britain's. Plenty of curb to be taken here. The right, then the left over the curve. Avoid the tyre stacks on the inside. Back to the right. And car kicking up a bit of dust. Matt Larby, that is, ahead of us. Up and over the rise, over Hilltop. And then it's down towards a slightly trickier chicane. Knickerbrook onto the brakes. Into the right-hander again. Avoid the tyres. Then back round to the left and into the right-hander at Hislops, named after the motorcycle legend. And then it's the climb up Clay Hill. Underneath the bridge. And then we're looking up towards the right-hander at Druids Corner. Fairly tricky right-hander. Tricky to see the apex on the inside. You come up through the trees, continuing to rise all the time. There's the right-hander at Druids, this double apex right-hander. Under the Warwick Bridge, named after the late Paul Warwick, of course. And then the slightly uneven straight here up towards the final corner at Lodge. Onto the brakes, sling the car in, and then it's through the little dip here, and then climb up Deer Leap and the start and finish line. That's a lap of Oulton Park.
Fantastic stuff there, right? Really very tidy lap there from Ryan Hooker. He does improve his time to a 54.492. So a great lap there. You said he wasn't running with a number. Well, he's running with a telephone number on the side there, pimping his wares. So he has an impressive setup in the Caterham paddocks that he's part of now, with a truck that he brings along, and he's absolutely one to look out for if you're looking for driving instruction. We have plenty of drivers on our service who race for real out there on the circuits, as well as people like Matt Larby, who decided he would come and joined our racing last season to prepare himself from his academy season that he had last year, and a very successful one he did, although he was beaten by Tom McEwing, who was also, here he is in his green machine. He was out there and he beat Matt Larby, just in front of Matt Larby there, to that championship in the academy. So I think that's James Fowler there in the barriers as well.
Yeah, somebody's
a good exit of Shell Oils, but so we like to create the racing here as realistic as to true life as we can, and certainly Tom McEwing and Matt Larby showing that it does transfer well into the real world, as Ryan Hooker just takes over Matt Larby there as we're going around. But it's still Chris Skillicorn, in fact Chris Skillicorn, who has moved into that pole position lap as we head into the final 6 minutes of this session.
Yes, Chris Skillicorn began racing in the Caterham Academy in 2020 before moving into the Caterham Graduate Series with Sigma 135 and Sigma 150. He's raced in the 310R Championship as well. He's done a 154.174, just over a tenth of a second quicker than the reigning champion Christian Saruta. I believe it was on a tie-break that he took the title last year. It
was an incredible finish to the last season. It was actually season 8 was the end of our championship last year, and he took it on pretty much the last corner of the last lap. He got that just enough points, and the tie-break was in his favour, so he won that series over David Rowe, and he has never let him forget it either. They have a good, healthy rivalry, I'd say.
Third quickest at the moment is a very talented racer indeed, number 111, Max Haynes. Now he's the reigning Caterham Sigmax Graduates champion. He's a successful kart racer as well, and he was quickest both in pre-qualifying yesterday and in free practice this afternoon as well. He's third quickest at the moment, only a few thousandths of a second off Christian Saruta. Ryan Hooker is fourth quickest, then it's David Rowe in fifth, and Tom Willis in sixth position. Now, he has a big rivalry with Blair McConaughey, the Scotsman, over the years. They've been racing together almost since their careers started in Caterham. Where is Blair at the moment? He's down in 10th position at the moment. Tom McEwing is 8th. Ninth quickest is Mitchell Costers. And then McConaughey, we see on screen now, rounding out the top 10. Blair McConaughey, who's started off his career in sprints and hill climbs. He did the Caterham Academy in 2019, was beaten to that title by Tom Willis, who's also defeated him, I believe, in Road Sports 270R and now in the 310Rs as well. They will continue their on-track battle. 17 cars out there in total for our 215-minute races, and we do have the B grid as well competing here at Oulton Park this weekend. There's 15 more drivers competing there. The grid's determined by the pre-qualifying session that was held yesterday. Still Skillicorn, who is quickest at the moment. So somebody going off there, that's on the run up Clay Hill. Who was that? The number 11 car. That's Will Stillwell, who works for DPR Motorsport. That's David Rowe's setup, one of our title sponsors here this weekend. He's making his debut in the Caterham Graduates Series this year, as well as the Caterham Racer Championship in the Sigma 150 category. Will Stillwell, 12th quickest in the times at the moment.
And an interesting bit of trivia: the car he's driving here is my old car from the 2018 season, where I won the 310R Championship, and this is now he owns that car, and he's going to take that racing with the graduates, and obviously we've recreated it for him here in the virtual world as well.
3 minutes to go in our qualifying session. We've got one car that hasn't set a time at the moment. Andrew Parker, we've not seen, number 99, out on track just yet. So possibly he's still... there he is. So he's just appeared on track. We've not seen a lap time from him yet. So maybe he's had a bit of a problem getting going in the pits, but he has now joined us on track. That's good to see.
He is a rapid driver, and I would expect to see him go and set a pretty quick time out the blocks. He quite likes doing these one-lap wonders, put the pressure on, really see how you fare. He's been going up through the ranks, really. He joined our service a little while back, and I don't think he'd mind me saying that he was not spectacularly quick out the box, but he put in lots of effort. It's why he's got an infinity of laps sign on the back of his that S of laps is an infinity sign, because he does so many laps and does put so much practice in, but he is now one of the real speedy drivers, and you can expect to see him figuring somewhere towards the front of this grid when he does get a lap on the board. We do have track limits. The server enforces track limits here, just like it would in real life. It's a bit more slack than maybe Jonathan Palmer might be around his real circuit, but if they do cut corners, then it will disregard their lap, so it might be that he has been out there, he just hasn't managed to get a clean lap in just yet.
Chris Skillicorn has gone quicker, 1:54.055 at the top of the times with just over 90 seconds to go. Max Haynes has gone second, 0.152 down on Skillicorn, relegating Christian Saruta to the second row.
Yeah, that's... sorry, Dave.
If you are watching on our live stream on YouTube, do leave a comment. Let us know you're watching. That's what Miata Mods has done on YouTube. Says, let's go Mitchell. So a supporter of Mitchell Costas, the Dutch driver, who's done a bit of karting, some track days in a Mazda MX-5 as well, or Miata, as of course they're known internationally. An experienced sim racer, new to Caterham's though, and looking to improve here. Where is Mitchell in the times? 11th quickest at the moment. Let's see what Andrew Parker is going to do here as he puts a lap on the board. Is this going to come in towards the top of the times? No, only 16th, so just getting up to speed.
That really puts pressure on him now. He's really got to nail this one on, otherwise that is going to be him starting towards the back of the field, and I would say that's him out of position there. He's certainly setting faster laps than that in pre-qualifying and practice, but like you say, Chris Skillicorn currently atop the board with a very impressive 54.0. I think we've only seen a few laps go underneath that 54 bracket, so incredible to recreate that in this qualifying session. Only 15 minutes, and you really got to bring it with everyone else out on track with you. Ryan Hooker, we've seen him rising up the ranks, and he obviously saw how consistent his demonstration lap as it was. It was brilliant stuff. Max Haynes, he's been the man on form in this sort of in between seasons in our casual events that we've been doing. He's been winning more than he's been losing, and Christian Schroeter's always there or thereabouts, and he won't sniff twice at a second row start. He'll certainly be looking to try and lead by the end of the first lap.
Ryan Hooker's gone second, 0.148 off pole position. He's now come into the pits, so that's the end of his session. The checkered flag has just come out on this qualifying session. Chris Skillicorn hanging the tail out there as he comes out of Lodge. Is he going to go any quicker as he comes over the line? He was doing that in free practice, but he aborts that lap, comes into the pits. Are we going to see an improvement here? David Rowe comes up over the line in the number 6 car. He's 5th. Will we see any further change? Christian Saruta goes second with a just 0.134 off. So Saruta back onto the front row. What about Tom McEwing in the green car? Does he improve? No, he stays 9th. Matt Larby is next over the line, followed by Blair McConaughey. Doesn't look like we're seeing any major improvement. There's Matt Shepherd in the number 80 car.
Steve Arnell just gained a position over that line, so he did move up from 8th to 7th, demoting Chafer back down a little bit. But yeah, not too many last lap wonders here. See what Andrew Parker's got though as he crosses the line. Is he going to move? He does move himself up. He moves himself up to 6th place, a bit more where we expect to see him.
So I think that's conclusion of qualifying then. The majority of the cars back in the pits, and the grid provisionally will line up as follows. The front row will be at number 44, Chris Skillicorn, alongside number 2, Christian Saruta. 44 and 2 on the front row. Second row, the numberless car of Ryan Hooker will start alongside 111 of Max Haynes. Row 3 is number 6, David Rowe, and number 99, just getting a shot in at the end there, Andrew Parker. The fourth row will be Tom Willis. Again, he doesn't have a number. We'll start alongside Steve Arnell, number 06. That was the yellow car we saw come over the line there, not Matt Shepherd, I apologise. The fifth row in the purple machine is number 13, Martin Schaefer, alongside 89 of Tom McEwing. On row 6, we will have Will Stillwell in car number 11, alongside Mitchell Costas. He hasn't got a number. Row 7, Blair McConaughey, number 34, slightly lower than he expected, I think, down on the 7th row of the grid. He starts alongside number 40, James Fowler, recovering from a bit of a mishap in free practice. Row 8, we've got Matt Shepherd, car number 80, and number 14, one of our newcomers, the Spaniard, Hugo Gomez. And at the back of the field, perhaps surprisingly, number 17, Matt Larby, down there at the foot of the times, but it was certainly a very close qualifying session. As you can see, 1.13 seconds covers the entire field.
And around a track such as Oulton Park, it's a long journey with a lot of corners, twists, turns and action. So to be spreading this 18-car or 17-car field with just over a second...
Did we have a change? Sorry to interrupt, Chris. Did we have a change there right at the end that we didn't spot? Yes, Max Haynes went quickest on his final lap. That didn't come into us
he must
until a little late there.
We pulled into the pits a bit too early, so there you go. So absolutely, it looks like Max Haynes... We've been tricked by this before. Sometimes the game can play tricks, but it looks like by about a tenth of a second, or in fact a hundredth of a second, he has demoted Chris Gillicorn off that pole position, hasn't he?
Yes, the timing was perhaps a little behind there, but Max Haynes has indeed gone quickest, so that completes pre-qualifying, free practice and qualifying. He has gone quickest in all of them, so we're awaiting the grid to form up then. It has done so. 15 minutes of racing coming up here at Oulton Park. Max Haynes on pole position in the black car, number 111, 44 of Chris Gillicorn, the black car with the Martini-esque stripe down the centre of it alongside him. The Brawn GP lookalike of Christian Saruta, number 2, the white car with the Dayglow yellow stripes and roll cage on the second row, and the white and green car of Ryan Hooker, the professional driver, coach and racing instructor, will start alongside him. A lot of experience, not only in Caterhams, but in Porsches, Brit Sports and plenty of other series over the years as well. Looks like the grid is now just about formed up. 17 cars out there in total to begin Season 10 of the caterhamracer.com Championship at the wheel of the new 270R cars.
Got about a minute before the lights will come up, so I guess there's nothing for you to found your predictions on this, but you can see that the racing is hectic. It's all tight as you like you might expect in Caterham Motorsport. And if I think my prediction would be Max Haynes, if he can keep it nice and clean. There's certainly going to be some hungry drivers behind looking to demote him, but he's shown a clean pair of heels, and that last lap was pretty special by him.
Or a clean pair of wheels, you might say. As for me, I'm making no predictions. You've heard of the curse of the commentator, and I don't wish to put the curse on anybody at this early stage. A quick hello to Jen Dixon, who's watching on over in Yorkshire, enjoying the action. She says, very colourful grid indeed. It certainly is, Gemma. And we're about to get underway, and the lights are about to come on. Once the red lights go out, we'll be underway for 15 minutes of racing. Race 1 of the caterhamracer.com season number 10. Lights out. The tyres light up and away they go. Decent start by Max Haynes, good start by Chris Gillicorn. Matt Larby slotting in at the back through Old Hall Corner for the first time. The front row men have broken away already very slightly. It is the black car of Max Haynes who leads the way with in the slipstream behind him Chris Gillicorn. They go down the avenue in front of a sizable crowd here at Oulton Park. Chris Gillicorn has a look on the inside. They go through Cascades. Third place it is Ryan Hooker. Are they all going to make it round Cascades? One car going off on the inside there. That's the white machine. That might be Tom Willis that has spun it there. Yes, he's dropped to the tail of the field, so Tom Willis is the first spinner of the season. Through Island Bend for the first time. Flames flashing from the exhaust. This beautiful, scenic Cheshire circuit. It's Max Haynes and Chris Gillicorn continuing their battle for the lead. Ryan Hooker is in third place. Looks like it's Saruta in fourth position. David Rowe in the black and green car with the white nose in fifth position. The first half dozen are nose to tail. Andrew Parker at the back of that train as they head through Britons for the first time up and over Hilltop, and already Max Haynes looking good out front.
Yeah, the clean pair of heels, clean pair of wheels, as we said, just about making a good start there. It's all nice and calm in that early part. We did see that couple of spins, and I saw Blair McConaughey had a few issues, and he's drifted to the back of the field as well. But it looks like Chris Skillicorn and Ryan Hooker is where the action's at, as we see a little bit of Sharuta dropping onto the grass there in the background. That's not going to be good for your wheels. You do get a bit of dirt on the tyres in the sim, so it'll take a little while for that all to come back good. But Max Haynes is making use of the fact that it's Ryan Hooker pressuring Chris Skillicorn, and he's got a little bit of a gap out front, which they'll be keeping an eye on. They certainly won't want that to develop too quickly.
The first half dozen or so have broken away. Steve Arnell trying to go with the leaders there. The blue and yellow car on the tail of Andy Parker, who's trying to make a move on David Rowe into Lodge. He does so. David Rowe tries to cut back in, but he can't do so because that multicoloured car of Steve Arnell is in there in 7th place, the Caterham Graduates Championship competitor, as well as this caterhamracer.com series. So Haynes leads it, just over a second clear now of Chris Skillicorn, who's under pressure from Saruta. He got past Ryan Hooker there down the pit straight. A couple of cars running wide towards the back. Hugo Gomez, the Spaniard, was one of them. There's a great battle developing now for second place. Skillicorn started to come under a little bit of pressure from the Brawn GP lookalike of Christian Saruta. Then it's Hooker, then a small gap back to Andrew Parker, who's got ahead of David Rowe now into 5th position. Steve Arnell going with them, then Will Stillwell, Martin Schaefer and Tom McEwing rounding out the first 10.
Yeah, Will Stillwell in his first race, remember, so that's a great result for him so far if he can keep that going until the end. But you can see that there's really no gap between this top three. A little gap back to Andrew Parker, and then we got a following trio of drivers behind as well, currently led by that David Rowe. In fact, that Will Stillwell's just dropped off away for a little bit from the back of that as they run onto the gravel and dust just at the edge of that curb. It's a vicious curb even in the sim as it is in real life, and you'll see cars bumping away over that. But looked like Max Haynes has got the dream start that he would have wanted coming into this race, but there's still plenty of time, still got plenty of time on the clock for the drivers to sort themselves out and see whether they can catch him.
Yes, Max Haynes making the break because everybody else is squabbling and slipstreaming behind him. Skillicorn, Saruta and Hooker together. Saruta trying to get the slipstream up the hill there. Somebody running wide down towards the back. That was Mitchell Costas, I think, running wide onto the grass. There's another one of our newcomers, Martin Schaefer, in the car I've christened the Purple People Eater, giving a good chase to Tom McEwing here. Hopefully won't be unlucky 13 for Martin, who's a newcomer to Caterham Racing in his first ever race. Tom McEwing, meanwhile, is the 2022 Caterham Academy champion in his group. I saw him have a cracking run in the finale at Silverstone at the end of last season. And they're chasing after the number 11, I think that is, yes, with the yellow cage. That's Will Stillwell. It's over the line, there you go. Quick lap times coming in. Still the lead is just under 1.5 seconds for Haynes over Skillicorn. Nobody running wide there. That was Steve Arnell, I think. He's now up into 6th position ahead of Will Stillwell. Tom McEwing in the next group here. This is the fight for second place we see heading along the avenue. It is still Skillicorn second, Saruta is third, then it is Ryan Hooker. And a small gap back now. They have dropped Andrew Parker, who put in that late effort to qualify up there on the 4th row of the grid. He's clear of Steve Arnell, who ran wide coming out of Old Hall, I think, that time through. Then the next group headed by McEwing, then Schaefer. Gomez is up into 10th. No, Costas retakes in there, having a good scrap, those two. David Rowe has dropped back. He's had a moment somewhere. There he is, the number 6. I wondered where he got to. He's battling with Gomez and Costas now as they come into the Britain's chicane. Behind them, the yellow car is Matt Shepherd. Then Matt Larby from the back of the grid. Tom Willis recovering after he spun on the first lap. And then, and somebody going off there. Who was that? I think that was Costas.
It was indeed, yes, it was Costas just caught out. They were going side by side with David Rowe through the middle of that Britain's chicane, and then unfortunately that meant he span to the inside there. But David Rowe has come out of that ahead, so whatever issue he had, he's using now that speed he has in that car just ahead of Matt Shepherd there. Matt Larby just following on, and that's Tom Willis following on behind them. So Tom Willis, Blair McConaughey and James Fowler, as I said to you before we even started this race, they are rarely apart on track, and they have managed to find themselves. Have you seen something there?
I thought we'd lost Christian Saruta there. No, it was. I think it was a transponder issue. He's still there alongside Skillicorn. We seem to have lost Blair McConaughey though, as Saruta up the inside coming out of Lodge takes second place away from Chris Skillicorn. But as we said, all this squabbling there, dropping back from Max Haynes all the time. Haynes over the line is a 1:54.099. That's time through.
I mean, that is holding extremely rapid lap, that, Dave. Like I say, 53s. If they get there, then that's an unbelievable lap. But to set that in the racing conditions, he really has got the bit between his teeth. Chris Gillican diving down the inside there of Ryan Hooker. Couldn't make it stick. Ryan actually had to chop across to make that hold back. But Chris Gillican has been shuffled back in that order then. He was running second a little while back now. But Christian Chiruta now leads Ryan Hooker and Chris Gillican back in that fourth place.
This is great stuff. Chris Skillicorn looking to recover. They go up towards the shell hairpin, the banked right-hander on the slowest parts of the course. Ryan Hooker tries to line up. He's a little bit out of shape there on the entry. They saw the back end just slide very slightly. This could give Skillicorn the momentum he needs to pull up alongside, but 2 into 1 rarely works through the Britain chicane. See how tight they are over the curbs there. Andrew Parker with the grey car with the orange cage looking on behind them, and then next in the order is Steve Arnold, because David Rowe is still down in 11th place. He was in this battle early on. Blair McConaughey unfortunately appears to have dropped out of the race. He hasn't come through on the last couple of laps.
He was having some connection issues, I think we saw, so maybe that has finally seen the end to that race. Hopefully he'll be able to join us for race 2. He will actually have to start at the back of the grid, but he's got the skill to move on through. I saw Matt Shepherd also had an issue there, so he's dropped back now down into 50th.
Yes, Blair McConaughey, electrical problems. I think he was having trouble in free practice as well, so maybe a reoccurrence of those gremlins. Hopefully we'll see him back in race 2. The lead gap is now up to 2.5 seconds, so on this lap alone, Max Haynes looks like has gained a whole second. That's an eternity in Caterham racing, and Ryan Hooker is all over the back of Christian Saruta, the reigning champion, for second place. Skillicorn in 4th place. Here they come over the line now. Is Ryan Hooker going to get into the slipstream? We ride with him. He jinks out to the right towards the pit wall. Is there room? He's going to be squeezed up against the pit wall as we switch to the drone camera. Fantastic shot this is of the cars as they head around, and running wide there Saruta just about holds it together. Also running wide there Steve Arnold further back. I saw possibly one car in the pit lane there. Couldn't see who it was though from the drone cam. Ryan Hooker running a little bit wide, but he gets tighter in on the exit. He's got to attack and defend at the same time, because coming up on him is Chris Skillicorn. Again, he tries to pull alongside. We ride with him with Christian Saruta. You don't want to be edged onto the grass there through Island Bend, else you'll be heading for the tyre wall. Look at this. It's like a 12-wheel Caterham. This is a typical classic Caterham scrap for second place, but all the time they are falling behind Max Haynes, who's now nearly 3.5 seconds clear.
Yeah, they've got to be thinking about whether this is worth the battles, because they are losing the chance for a win, and it's such a fraught battle. We've seen even a slight mistake, a locked wheel, a snatched curb could send one of them spinning. In fact, Chris Gillicorn, exactly as I said, he caught that curb. He's managed to keep it out the barriers, but is that going to allow Andrew Parker to get through? Certainly get alongside him as they come down into Knickerbrook.
Saruta still defending second place. Parker going round the outside into Knickerbrook. Side by side rarely works there, but Parker's got it done. Good move, Andrew Parker up into 4th position as they head up towards Clay Hill this time. Not far behind them we can see the yellow car of Stephen Arnold. They are well clear of Will Stillwell, who's going well on his debut in 7th. Then McEwen, Chafer and Gomez rounding out the top 10. There is Chafer on the tail of Tom McEwen. This is the battle for 8th position. Number 14, Hugo Gomez, an experienced sim racer, but new to Caterham's, is just behind them. The Spaniard, Matt Larby, lost a place there on that lap to Tom Willis as well. He's recovering, of course, after a spin on the opening lap. There's the white car of Tom Willis, the former champion in the academy, among others. Is up the inside, Martin Chafer through Lodge. He's got the move done, has he? Oh, might have been a bit of contact in there as McEwen cuts back on the inside, retakes the place. Cracking midfield scrap here. We've got just over 5 minutes of this race to go. It has flown by, this first race of the season.
Yeah, there's been action, absolutely nose to tail, absolutely wheel to wheel all the way through. I think the most spread out some of these drivers have been was on the grid. I did see Matt Larby lose the track. I've also seen one of the cars is definitely got a connection issue. I think it might be Willis. His car is a bit all over the place at the moment, occasionally losing connections to the server, which is something you don't have to deal with in real life, but in the sim world it does. However, out front though, Christian Chiruta and Ryan Hooker are absolutely going to tooth and nail for it. Then Ryan Hooker's down the inside of Shell Oil's. Christian Shooter's left to hang out to dry at the outside of that as they now head in. Ryan making at position up.
Still the fastest lap of the race is Max Haynes out in front with that 154.099. Still nose to tail for second, and Ryan Hooker has got ahead of Christian Saruta. We're hoping to say a couple of your comments on YouTube, but there isn't time at the moment because we're so busy with the on-track action. It's now 3 cars line astern for 4th place, side by side for second. Saruta on the inside. Now Hooker will have the line for the left-hander at Knickerbrook. Nothing between the two of them. Saruta pulls ahead as they go through Hislops. And here's the battle for 4th place, because Steve Arnold has caught Skillicorn and Parker. Skillicorn's back ahead into 4th. It's side by side for 2nd. You don't know where to look in this race. Typical frantic Caterham battling. Max Haynes is missing all the fun. He's away up the road.
He's not having any fun at all, is he? And he's got all the gremlins to think about. All he's got to do is hit his line and his marks. But actually, that becomes some of the hardest things to do in the world when you what can go wrong in the last 3 minutes of the race. But as we see these two absolutely going battling, and the battle behind is really hotting up. Let's cut to that. It looks like they're going to go nearly 3 wide there. But Steve Arnell's just been sat there quietly, hasn't he? He's ready to try and take a position. And there's Parker drifting wide, which can allow Arnell to go round the outside as they start this lap. I think it'll probably be their penultimate lap. Yes,
just over 3 minutes to go, and Arnell has indeed got ahead of Parker. Parker got wide on the exit of Lodge there. They're still side by side for 2nd. Up ahead of this lot, Saruta and Hooker, as if they're tied together with a piece of string. Saruta's just got his nose in front as they go through Cascades there with a couple of laps to go, but they're over 6 seconds behind Max Haynes. Oh, what a tangle! Parker's gone! Parker spins there. I think there might have been some contact with Steve Arnold, who's kept it going. This is going to drop Parker down the order. He's lost at least 4 or 5 places there. Disaster for Andrew Parker. He rejoins in 10th position. There's our leader, Max Haynes. Here's this tooth and nail fight for 2nd place. Ryan Hooker is back ahead. He must have got through there on the run up towards Island Bend. Into Britons, he defends. 4th place on his own is Chris Skillicorn. Now they've dropped, he's the pair he was battling with, I should say. Had that tangle at Cascades there. That has slowed Arnold, who's down to 9th. Parker's down to 10th. So whether there's some damage on Arnold's car, I'm not sure. That's put Will Stillwell up into 5th. A great debut for him. Tom McEwing has just taken Martin Schaefer for what is now 6th place. They're having a huge fight further back in the order, but it should be last lap this time for the flying Max Haynes as Hooker gets a little bit wide onto the curb. He hooked a wheel onto the curb there, and that could allow Christian Saruta to fight back into 2nd.
Yeah, so we ask our drivers if they do cause a collision or make contact, then their penalty for that is to wait for the other driver to get back in front of them in the race, and that might well be what Arnell was doing with Parker, so if he felt that it was his fault. So that might well be what's happened there, but you can see that contact has cost them dearly, and that's kind of what we want to do, because in real life they'd be paying big bills if they had contact like that. A little bit of a nudge there from Christian Saruta on the back end, the rear panel of Ryan Hooker, but no harm, no foul. They both continue on, and Ryan Hooker's entering this last lap then with just with a slight advantage, but in Caterham's you never know whether you want to be ahead going into that last lap.
Exactly, they say the last place you want to be in a Caterham race is leading into the final corner. It won't matter for Max Haynes, he's 7 seconds up the road, but you want to be behind going into Lodge for the last time, certainly for these two, Hooker and Saruta. This has been an enormously fun season opener for the caterhamracer.com 270R Championship. Chris Skillicorn just looking on there from 4th place. Here comes Saruta again. He's going to go for the inside as they go into Island and into Shell Oils, I think. They're still side by side. Yes, Saruta will have the inside for the hairpin. He goes through. Is Hooker just biding his time here? Is he going to do a last lap lunge into Lodge and take that 2nd place away? Further back, Skillicorn is 4th. Then we've got Stillwell, McEwing, Gomez, Schaefer, Parker and Arnell is your top 10. We'll run you through the rest of the order as the cars come over the lines. There's only 30 seconds on the clock now. Max Haynes is heading for victory. He's topped every session so far. Hooker moving to the outside. Is he trying to fake to the outside there, so he's got the inside for the left? Saruta's wise to him. That's good driving by the reigning champion Christian Saruta, defending that 2nd place. Here comes Hooker. Moves back to the inside. Is he going to make his attack early? Is he going to go too early? You've got to know where to make your finishing move in Caterham racing, as we said earlier. Skillicorn looking on from that 4th place as Hooker to the inside into Druids for the final time. They're side by side, inches apart. Up ahead of them going into Lodge, Max Haynes is going to take the first win of the season. He was quickest in pre-qualifying, in free practice, qualifying, and he's going to take the win. Here comes Max Haynes, still side by side into the final corner. Here comes Haynes to take the win. Oh, Saruta's gone wide on the exit of Lodge. That's going to give 2nd place to Ryan Hooker. He did time his attack perfectly. Is it going to be enough for Ryan Hooker? Yes, he's going to take the 2nd place. Superb battle with Christian Saruta. Skillicorn comes in 4th place. It's Will Stillwell, a fine 5th. McEwing is 6th, and a photo finish for 7th. Gomez got there ahead of Schaefer. Parker 9th, Arnell 10th, then David Rowe, Tom Willis, Matt Larby, James Fowler, Matt Shepherd, Mitchell Costas completes the 16 finishers. Is that Blair McConaughey there at the back? Has he rejoined? Yes, he has. He did get across the line, but several laps down after those problems.
So
wow,
take a breath.
I'm out of breath after that one.
It's what frantic action, and sorry for the people that they look like they're having fantastic battles further down, but when you've got a battle for the lead, that's where we tend to focus. What a result there. Ryan Hooker just demoting Christian on that last lap. Christian, an absolutely cheeky move, I would say, around the outside of Island to move himself back up, but ultimately lost out just at the last second there.
So the result confirmed then, Max Haynes, your winner ahead of Ryan Hooker by 7.95 seconds. That's an absolute eternity in Caterham racing. Christian Saruta showing in third, just behind Ryan Hooker there after a little sort out through Lodge on the final corner. They were together all race long. Chris Skillicord in fourth place ahead of newcomer Will Stillwell, a great result for him. Tom McEwen coming through for sixth. Another newcomer, Hugo Gomez, in seventh ahead of Martin Chafe. So three newcomers in the top 8 places. Andrew Parker, a late spin for him, tangling with Steve Arnold. They ended up down in 9th and 10th places. Beyond the top 10, David Rowe in 11th place. He had a moment early on. Tom Willis recovering from a first lap spin to take 12th. Matt Larby 13th from the back of the grid. 14th was James Fowler, then Matt Shepherd. Mitchell Costa's another of our newcomers, and Blair McConaughey did recover to take the flag, but a few laps down after some problems.
Yeah, what a first race, and we've got that all to do again. So we have got a second 15-minute race. They're just about to get themselves forming up on the grid, so I'll let that take place. But yeah, if that action is anything to go by, then we've got a fantastic season ahead of us. In fact, there's going to be about a minute before they actually get onto that grid. They've got a quick chance for a glass of water. I'd imagine that some of them need that, but it was for some fantastic racing on offer, and Hooker and Sharuta, I don't think they were more than a millimetre apart for most of that race.
They certainly were, and that was the highlight of the race for me. A couple of commenters on our YouTube stream. Hello to Sender, who says DPR for the win. And likewise, Mark Ryder says, come on, Mr. Rowe. So David Rowe and DPR Motorsport, our sponsors, have got some fans on our stream. David, unfortunately, had a moment early on there, finished just outside the top 10, so he's got it all to do from mid-grid because, as we said, the finishing order of that first race sets the grid for race 2.
Indeed, so yes, Max Haynes going to be starting in that spot. Can any of the drivers do anything about his dominance of that first event? I'm thinking they're going to have to stop squabbling, and they're unlikely to do that. They certainly had a great race long. Nice to hear from Mark Ryder. Welcome to the comments. He's a previous Caterham racer and an ex-Caterham technician now working at Porsche. So nice to have you along for the stream as well. Just about to get the cars then back on the grid. You've seen one race. I can hold you to a prediction now, I think.
I predict a riot. That's all I'm going to say.
Perfect answer, I would say. Yeah, I think that's pretty much correct. I can see Christian's wheel there is turned to the left. You can see his car on the right of the grid, left as we look at it, but his wheels are turned to one side. I hope he notices that, otherwise he's going to be spearing to the outside barrier. But it is going to be Haynes who's going to start on that pole position, with Ryan Hooker behind him in the green and white machine, and then Sharuta in the Brawn Special, the white and fluorescent yellow car there on the right of the grid, left of our screen, and then it's Skillicorn, and then it's Stillwell as well. What a great first event for Stillwell.
It certainly was, yes. Will Stillwell, who's done some karting. He works for DPR Motorsport, our sponsor, as a mechanic. Debuting in the Caterham Graduates this year. He'll be racing a Sigma 150 in addition to his action in the caterhamracer.com series. So it's the black machine of Max Haynes looking for his double from pole position. Ryan Hooker is the man out to stop him. Our other title sponsor, 121 Driver Coaching. Unlock your hidden potential. If you're looking to improve your circuit driving, get in touch with Ryan Hooker, experienced racer in various sports cars over the years, including a bit of a Porsche specialist is Ryan. If you want to book a driver coaching session, well, the phone number's on the side of his car.
Indeed, yeah, certainly get in contact. And it's worth also noting that David Rowe will be in his Red Hill workshop in their dedicated simulator. As I see Christian does straighten his wheel up. He'll be in his dedicated simulator, which is available to customers for training, and in fact it's a dual simulator setup they've got there. Very impressive stuff for all your Caterham needs in DPR Motorsport.
The lights will be coming on any second now then. Race number 2 of the season, round 2 of the caterhamracer.com Season 10 Championship. 6 lights on, the revs are up, And away they go. The power comes on and down towards Old Hall for the first time. A decent start by the front row. Good start by Chris Skillicorn from the outside as well. But it's Max Haynes who will have the lead into that first corner. Are they all going to make it round? A couple of cars run wide. Christian Saruta was one. Martin Schaefer was another. But they are all round cleanly. Everybody's still on the straight and narrow. Ryan Hooker has a look on the insides. They head through Cascades for the first time. Is he going to take the lead away on the exit? It looks like he's done it. Ryan Hooker takes the lead as they head down Lakeside for the first time. And look at this, 3 wide for second place. There's 5 of them almost on top of one another as they head into Island Bend. That's Christian Saruta going through into second. Max Haynes has been shuffled back. He's in about 5th place. He didn't get the exit from the first corner that he wanted there. They're all close bunched up behind the leaders this time. It's Hooker who leads from Saruta, and Will Stillwell's made a good start. He's up into 3rd position. They're all round the first few turns okay. Through towards the chicane at Britain's. The fans cheering them on. A big crowd here today on this fine day at Oulton Park. A couple of cars kicking up some dust up over Hilltop. Christian Saruta renewing his battle with Ryan Hooker from race 1, but this time it is for the lead, and they're side by side into Knickerbrook. Ryan Hooker just about holds the lead.
And they're Stillwell, like you say, having a fantastic start there. Again, what I call a cheeky move, a brave move for sure around the outside of Island to hold on to that position where others failed and fell backwards. But now it's Stillwell pushing Christian Saruta up the hill. He's just lost it. He's had to put his wheel onto the gravel. They had absolutely nowhere to go. They're now heading up into Druids. Dauntingly fast right-hander. Double apex. Really have to carry all the speed through Druids and capture it, the exit for your move down here into Lodge, the final corner, and a great overtaking opportunity on this Oulton Park circuit. And Will Stillwell does dive down the inside, locked up the front wheels, manages to get it stopped. Christian Saruta left him enough room to let him have his mistake, and they all continue on. Whew, that was close.
It certainly was, yes. Stillwell lucky not to lose it going into Druids. Somebody going into the pits there. That was Tom McEwing, I think. So possibly he's got a problem. That's a great shame for the former Academy champion as the leaders head into their second lap. Hooker shows from Saruta. Skillicorn behind Stillwell, 3rd and 4th. Max Haynes, the pole sitter, down to 5th. And Hugo Gomez going well up there in 6th place, the blue and white car. Andy Parker is in 7th just behind him. Then a gap back to this group headed by Martin Schaefer. He's got Tom Willis on his tail. David Rowe running a little bit wide there. It's been a slight struggle for him so far, possibly 1 or 2 car issues, but here's the battle for the lead. It's almost like a NASCAR race up front. They're running in pairs at the front of the field. Saruta to the inside. He's going to take the lead, surely, going into the Shell Oil's hairpin. He's got the inside line. Hooker drifts out a bit wide, and through goes Saruta into the lead. Here comes Stillwell. He's desperate for a win on his debut weekend. Side by side then for second place. Over the curb goes Hooker. He gets the Optimum Racing line and stays second. Kicks a bit of dust on the exit. And have we had a change for 3rd? No, Stillwell is still there. And we could see Max Haynes get through for 4th here, possibly. He's right up with Chris Skillicorn as they head down into Knickerbrook for the second time. Andy Parker is in behind them. Haynes up the inside. He does take 4th place away. I thought he may try a move there. And his next target is Will Stillwell. But already our 2 protagonists from race 1, they were fighting for 2nd, then breaking away. Somebody has spun there. That's Skillicorn. Skillicorn at his lops has dropped to the tail of the field with a quick spin. No, he's not quite at the tail of the field. He's about 14th place now. That's a great shame for Chris.
Yeah, didn't see what happened there, but he was side by side with a driver in that chicane. But it's quite easy to lose the rear end just as you're getting on the power and trying to get the car pulling back to the right for the exit up Clay Hill. And so it could well be that he just lost the rear there, as we're still seeing this battle with Stillwell losing out there to Max Haynes. So that's a couple of corners and a couple of great moves. This is a diametrically opposed race for Max Haynes. He's having to absolutely battle this, and Will Stillwell is right on his tail as they head down to the first corner for this time through. But he's not going to have a way through. He's going to have to sit back and wait and find his opportunity further around the lap.
Fastest lap of the race that time through for Christian Saruta as he battles it out with Ryan Hooker at the front of the field. 155.011, so a slightly slower pace than we saw in race 1. Side by side there, Martin Schaefer with Steve Arnell. Arnell's lost it, and we've got a bit of a pile up there. Disaster. Schaefer and Arnell have both spun it. Is that McConaughey in there as well? Oh, he's having a disastrous day. That was coming out of Cascades, I think, up towards Island Bend. They just slid sideways there. So
Arnell just lost the rear end of the car going through Cascades. I could see it happening. He was doing well to hold on, but just on the exit of the corner, unfortunately, he just collected a group of them, and that upset all of their races. But it was just Arnell losing the rear of his car that caused that one.
Here come your leaders, Saruta from Hooker. They're almost 2 seconds clear of Max Haynes now. So Max Haynes will want to get his head down and his right foot down and try and catch these two. Otherwise, they're going to start to escape. We've got just under 10 minutes of the race to go. 1/3 distance. It is Christian Saruta, the reigning champion. Hooker runs wide there onto the grass. They're all running wide there. In fact, I wonder if there's a bit of fluid down there, possibly. Could that be why Chris Skillicorn spun earlier? Is there a bit of fluid gone down, do you think?
There isn't fluid simulated. I think what you're doing is giving them an excuse for what was sloppy driving by all four of them there. But certainly, if there's dust on their tyres, it can do it. But actually, no, it was just they were just pushing so hard that they all just followed each other off.
Hey, I'm just adding a bit of realism here, you know.
I'm just calling
Saruta
bad driving.
Saruta continues to lead by about 3 car lengths now over Ryan Hooker as they come round to complete their 3rd lap. There's half a second between the two of them. Haynes in 3rd place. He's got ahead of Stillwell, starting to pull clear. Hugo Gomez up into 5th place now ahead of Skillicorn, who's recovered well from that quick spin down at Islops. This is a great debut by Hugo Gomez. Experienced sim racer, but his first season trying Caterham. There's Skillicorn behind them, and Matt Larby, having come through the field, is 7th. McEwing is 8th, despite a quick trip to the pits earlier on. Tom Willis is 9th, and James Fowler completing the top 10.
Quite likely that McEwing had to go through the pits for a jump start. Jump starts are part of this, and they will get issued a drive-through penalty. So I'd imagine that's why we saw him diving to the pits on that opening lap. But yeah, I'd say for Gomez to be in 5th place, what a start, dream start. And actually he's keeping his nose nice and clear. You've got space in front, space behind, so all looking good for him at the moment. Looks like Andrew Parker's deep in a battle, so let's go and have a look at him there with Fowler and Willis ahead of him, with David Rowe deep in the field, isn't he, down in 13th place. Not the result that David Rowe's going to want to have, but this trio are probably the closest action on track right now.
Yes, they certainly are. This is the fight for 9th position. Tom Willis having a better race this time at the head of it. We go on board with Andrew Parker as he attacks James Fowler. This is for 10th place, down into Knickerbrook. He's up the inside, forces his way through. The cars slide. They both slide on the next tool. Parker gets crossed up and they clash wheels there, and Fowler's spun on the exit of Knickerbrook. That's allowed Blair McConaughey to come through into 11th. There is the number 40 of James Fowler rejoins just in front of Martin Schaefer, who we saw go off earlier on. James Fowler, who had a spin in practice earlier on as well. It's not been the happiest of season openers for him.
No, it looked like Parker was pretty much having an accident that was following the course of the track. He was out of control fully on the left. He was absolutely late as you like on the brakes. And unfortunately, his car and James Fowler avoiding him did lead to a slight touch and left James Fowler facing the wrong way, which is why we now see him battling here with Schaefer in the number 13 purple machine. It's side by side as he's going up through Deer Leap. Not where he wants to be, and like you say, not quite the start he wanted, but I think Andrew Parker will be thankful that he's still running in front of him.
Still leading the way, it is Saruta from Hooker. Max Haynes trying to hunt them down. He's got the gap down to about 0.7 of a second to Ryan Hooker that time through as they head up towards the Shell Oils hairpin once again. Some 3 seconds back from this is Stillwell in 4th position. There is Max Haynes going for a double win, and he is reeling in the two ahead of him. His last lap was about 0.3 of a second quicker than that of Ryan Hooker, but a little bit slower than Saruta, who now has the fastest lap of the race at 1:54.021. So the lap times improving over the last couple of tours. Down towards Knickerbrook they go once again. These three clear of Stillwell, Gomez, Skillicorn still in there in 6th position. It stays like this. It looks as though Christian Saruta could be leading the championship, although Ryan Hooker consistent with 2 second places. It's going to be a very tight between these three at the top of the points, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Meantime, going under the bridge there on Clay Hill up towards Druids, Saruta leads the way by 0.8 of a second ahead of Ryan Hooker, and really throwing his Caterham 270R around is Max Haynes as he doggedly chases these two race leaders with just over 5.5 minutes of the race to go.
I was about to say, is it time to start playing the Jaws music? But I actually think that the two in front may have got this a little bit settled. I mean, that's far too early to say that with 5 minutes still left to go, but it doesn't look like he's able to catch up quite as quickly as I thought he might. Certainly with Christian setting, 54.0. That said, that was kind of where the ultimate lap times lie. So he's not going to be able to make too much of an impression, even if he was, doing that pace. And at the moment, he's not quite getting there. He's getting close, though. Certainly, he'll be getting thirsty for that action up in front.
Still chasing in that fourth place. He's almost 3 seconds clear of Gomez now in fifth. Matt Larby having a better run this time. The blue number 17 car, third in his academy group in his racing debut year last season, moving up to the 270R Championship this year. There he is, just ahead of Tom McEwing, the academy champion last year. And just behind them, Tom Willis. Then it's Parker, McConaughey, David Rowe still down in 12th. The subdued first weekend of the season for him. Steve Arnell, after those problems earlier on, in 13th. And it's Chafer, Fowler, Matt Shepherd and Mitchell Costas rounding out the 17 cars. Big hello to Caterham 7 Diaries on YouTube. Says great to see another season starting, and great to see some great racing here as we watch the battle for the minor placings. This is for 7th place.
Yep, so these two absolutely nose to tail here on the sim, as they were pretty much nose to tail all the way through the season. Last year's McEwing just drifts over that curb. Again, he just managed to sort of span the curb with both wheels, which meant he didn't get speared off by it. But looks like Willis is now really putting the pressure on Larby. So some real top flight Caterham real world racers here. Some starting their careers quite early on. These two are moving, well, I think McEwing's going to the road sport season this year, and as we said, Larby's moving up to 270, and behind them we got Tom Willis, a multiple Caterham champion and someone who'll be racing 310R Championship. Whether he's doing a whole season, I'm not sure, but he's always rapid in any car he drives.
Over 3.5 minutes of this race to go, so I would say another couple of laps. As for up front, Saruta still from Hooker, then Haynes. He does go over the line. Christian Saruta able to control the pace this time, just under a second clear of Flying Ryan in second place. There's the fight for sixth between, for fifth, because Chris Skillicorn has just taken Hugo Gomez there at Lodge and dodges across to defend his line. There was nearly contact between the two of them there, heading down towards Old Hall Corner. Hugo Gomez drops down to sixth position. Skillicorn runs wide, very easy to do there, coming out of Old Hall. There's McEwing behind them in the green machine. All 17 cars still running strong in this one. Good to see that Blair McConaughey, in the brief interval between races, has been able to cure those gremlins. So we finish at the back in race one as Hugo Gomez walloped straight into the barrier. Oh, disaster for Hugo Gomez. He was going so well. And the Spaniard onto the infield, sixth place gone.
Again, very easy to do. We do run damage on the sim, and he hit the wall sufficiently hard there. I think he will be suffering. I think his car probably is kaput, so that will be the end. As you can see, he's actually have to put back into the pits, unfortunately. So we watch Will Stillwell in his lonely fourth place. Everyone else moves up that place, it's the closest action I think we've got on track is still, I think now, Andrew Parker. This trio here. This is Matt Larby, sort of been involved in lots of these battles we've been watching. So now it's Andrew Parker in the middle of this battle. With Tom Willis behind, so somehow he's managed to get involved. Whether he dropped back here or I can't remember where he was before.
Such a shame for Hugo Gomez, and just as I said that everybody was running so well in this race, the curse of the commentator struck there. Sorry, Hugo. As Andrew Parker tucks in behind Matt Larby on the run towards Clayhill. This is the battle for 7th position. Larby in that bright blue car with the red wheels. Tom Willis looking on behind them. David Rowe now into the top 10 as a result of Gomez's demise. Over the line comes Max Haynes. Let's see what the gap is to...
Christian Charuta's back in the pits. I'm not sure what happened there. He's showing us DNF. I was just...
Right,
I just saw him
something's happened to Saruta's car.
Yep.
He's pulled into the pits. Oh, what a shame. So Ryan Hooker goes into the lead then, and this is going to free up Max Haynes to chase down just one car instead of two. I do not know what's happened there to Christian Saruta, but he's pulled into the pits. He must have had something break on that last lap. He was all set for victory. There's just over a minute left on the clock, so we're on the last lap now, I think, and it's Hooker versus Haynes for the lead. And Will Stillwell, on his debut, looks like he's going to finish on the podium because he's 4 seconds clear of Chris Skillicorn. What a stellar debut for young Will as they head out. Now there's Saruta back out. Now he must be a lap down.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out what... I saw his car sort of spit, like the numbers got close. Let's keep an eye on this. I don't think that's real unless there was a connection issue that we just weren't aware of. But I think he is certainly showing 37 seconds back, so I don't think that is a genuine position. We will let the server sort that out, but at the moment we're going to assume that it is Ryan Hooker versus Max Haynes for that race win.
It looks like it, yes. They come out of Hislop's, what will be the final time, chasing Saruta, the car that was just a few moments ago fighting for the lead. But it's looking good for Ryan Hooker in the 121 driver coaching Caterham. He should be number 121, really, shouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. You should suggest that for him. Yep.
Through towards Druids Bend for the final time. We are on the final lap, it is confirmed. Up towards Lodge, the checkered flag will be awaiting this time. And after some fantastic battling with Christian Saruta in both races, sadly it all came apart with a couple of laps left in race number 2 for Christian. But it's going to be flying Ryan Hooker who comes in to take the victory in race 2 here at Oulton Park. Checkered flag is out, Hooker wins it. Second place goes to Max Haynes, and we await Will Stillwell to come across the line. He's nearly 7 seconds back. There he is. He takes 3rd place. Well done, Will, on his debut. Chris Skillicorn is 4th. It's Tom McEwing coming through for 5th position. So there's been a bit of sort out further back as well. Matt Larby must have had an issue somewhere as well, because it's McEwing who comes through for 5th. Willis 6th. Andrew Parker is 7th. David Rowe 8th. Then Chafer, Fowler, a race to the line for 11th. It looks like Matt Shepherd is just going to beat Mitchell Costas home. Then Steve Arnold, Blair McConaughey, and Matt Larby. He must have had a moment somewhere, because he was up in 7th place battling with Tom McEwing. So there's been quite a bit of position changing there on the final lap.
Certainly, that I'm not sure exactly what's gone there, because here it is showing Christian Saruta in the winning spot, but we definitely saw his car disappear. So maybe there was a connection issue, and in that period he actually got ahead, which is highly unusual.
I'm not quite sure what's happened there.
No, not seen that before, but we'll see what the actual official server results give him, but I think we'll call it as it is showing here for now. Okay, so apologies for the confusion there. But the provisional results is Christian Saruta at the top by 1.1 seconds over Brian Hooker. Max Haynes in 3rd place. Will Stillwell a fine 4th. Then Skillicorn in 5th, ahead of Ewing, Willis, Parker, David Rowe, and Martin Chafer completing the top 10. Beyond that, James Fowler, Matt Shepherd, Blair McConaughey, Mitchell Costas, Steve Arnold, and Matt Larby. Of course, Hugo Gomez was unfortunately a non-finisher. What opening season. So yeah, unfortunate gremlins there. We'll kick the servers for the next one, but I think generally speaking the results we see on this screen that we're looking at now are the results that we end up with. So at the moment I am going to suggest that does mean that it was a connection issue for Christian's car there, which actually meant that he wasn't we couldn't see him on screen, but he actually managed to get ahead during that period. I think we have an opportunity to see whether we can talk to some of the drivers, and maybe we should talk to Christian and see whether he considers that he won that race. So I'll see if I can grab him and get him into the commentary box. So see whether he's around. Christian, have you got us in the commentary box?
Hello.
Hello. We had a very strange moment there at the end where your car disappeared in race 2, and it's showing you as having won, but we didn't see you crossing the line as number 1.
That's my special cloaking device I've installed.
We'll renumber you 00 because you're clearly Dick Dastardly.
So 3rd place then in race 1. That was an epic battle between you and Ryan, and you had a fantastic move around the outside of Ireland, but he just squeezed back through on that last corner.
Yeah, I thought it was very rude actually to do that on the last corner. Most ungentlemanly.
Fantastic race though.
It was such a good race. I mean, I don't think it was much better than racing with Dave, much cleaner. So yeah, that's hopefully a sign of things to come.
Glad to know that David Rowe finished quite low down there, didn't he?
It was most gratifying for me actually. I did enjoy.
And then the win in the second race, which again we were a bit spoilt at the end there with the server gremlin, but nevertheless it looks like a good start to your championship. Yeah, no, the second race. Well, after all that battling in the first race, I was kind of like, well, let's just get to the front and do some qualifying laps and see what happens. I thought Ryan might stick with me in the tow, but I think he made a little mistake, and then that just gave me that just enough to get outside that half a second to be able to just gradually eke out a little bit of a gap. Yeah. So it wasn't too uncomfortable at the end like the first race. So yeah, it was good fun. Congratulations on your stealth victory, and look forward to seeing you at the next one. Yes, we'll have to keep an eye out for this Max Haynes track. Yes, yeah, we'll go and speak to him now, I think, find out what he's talking about. Cool. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Christian. Well done.
Yeah, I think, like Christian said, we should grab Max Haynes in here
Yes, we just had a message from Hugo Gomez. He says, was hanging on with people far above my pace until my wheel decided to unalive itself.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, so steering failure, unfortunately, putting Hugo Gomez out of the race there.
So we should have Max. Max, have you got us in the commentary box?
Yep, hear you loud and clear.
Excellent stuff. What a start. Race 1 must have been a flipping dream for you.
Yeah, it was great. I was hoping they'd start fighting behind, and they decided to take it to the next level.
I mean, they had a more exciting race than you, but you certainly came away with the win at the end there. So, and then in race 2, it couldn't have kind of gone more opposite. You really had a fight on your hands.
Yeah, I think there was some sort of netcode or something in turn 2, because on my screen, Ryan and I made a bit of side-to-side contact, but for him, it didn't. But that pushed me back, and then got back into third and was hoping they would fight with one another, and then they came on the comms to say that they would work together, which was a bit frustrating.
That's a bit frustrating, but then again, if you
that's a penalty, no, talking during the race.
Point noted if you want to raise your formal complaint, but I would say that's a pretty good start to this season, Max, and you must be looking forward to the next ones now.
Yeah, it's going to be a good season. You could see from the qualifying that the pace was really even, and even when I was in third, I had to be perfect in order to catch them, and even still, I didn't catch the guys ahead. So it's going to be tight season. Looking forward to it.
Excellent stuff. Cheers, Max.
Thanks, guys.
Well done, Max. Great start to his season for the 111.
Indeed, and let's see. Ryan Hooker doesn't always have audio, but we're going to try. We'll put him in the commentary box and see whether he's got his voice today.
Lets his driving do the talking, does he?
Absolutely. Ryan, have you got us in the commentary box? I'm not sure whether you've got voice. I'm going to take that currently as a no. Okay, that's a shame. We can imagine that he's going to be fairly happy and had a good old race, and it's great for our title sponsors there to do a good showing. I think then other people in our top 3, we've kind of spoken to everyone we need to, but what I might do, I was going to say let's try and get Will Stillwell in, but he's actually left the room now. So I think we are done and dusted for this event 1 here at caterhamracer.com for the season 10.
Well, that was absolutely fantastic and a real pleasure to talk about. I've had an absolute ball commentating on the caterhamracer.com championship for the first time, and I'm already looking forward to round 2 at Croft.
Yeah, so let's quickly do. So Croft is on the 10th of May for our online racing. That is going to be round 2 here. Croft Circuit, another fantastic edition, and we will be back in the 270s. You'll see all the drivers again. But just to mention also that obviously the real world Caterham Motorsport ladder is underway in the next couple of weeks. In fact, here's the season as it rolls out. They've got plenty of action, 12 weekends for the Caterham Motorsport official ladder. Kerbera this weekend for our new Academy influx. So they're going to be making their first sprint event, their first competitive motorsport event. But we will all be out at Oulton Park on the 1st of April. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen tonight, well, I promise you they do it like this for real, in real life. And some of the drivers you've been watching tonight will be out there on the circuit. So Oulton Park will be the 1st of April. And if you're in the area, then it'd be great to see on the banks. And if not, we'll both join you on the commentary stream. We'll be across YouTube. So keep an eye out for that.
Yes, join us on BARC TV from Oulton Park on April the 1st.
There you go. So get that in your subscriptions. Do that searching, and yeah, I'm sure we'll put the adverts up anyway in good time for that. So I think all that's left is for me to thank you, Dave, for jumping in, and it's been fantastic having you on board, and looking forward to working with you throughout the rest of this season. It's brilliant stuff. And I will.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you to our sponsors, DPR Motorsport, 121. Driver coaching, and also FP0 simulators as well. We must thank all the marshals and officials here at Oulton Park today as well. Couldn't go racing without them.
Absolutely, and we do love to call out the marshals, as all the drivers in real life do. Thank you very much, and it'd be great to see some virtual marshals wheeling away Caterhams as they do in real world, putting wings and stuff into bins. That would be more realistic still, wouldn't it? But yes, thank you very much to our sponsors. The caterhamracer.com Season 10 270R Championship is sponsored by DPR Motorsport, your competitive advantage, and by a 1-to-1 on-track coaching and simulator training with Ryan Hooker. And we're supported by FP0 simulators. So, yeah, once again, thank you, Dave, for your time today, and we look forward to the next one.
Thank you. Good night.